Hey, let's talk about retirement. A lot of folks that are listening are in retirement or getting close to retirement. In your book, Paychecks and Playchecks, for folks who've never heard that phrase, can you tell them the difference between a paycheck and a playcheck in retirement?
Yeah, so that book is really based in math and science. It's the research of the leading PhDs around the world who write these white papers that people don't read. Well, I happen to read them. And really, the paycheck is what you should live on in retirement, and that should be covered with guaranteed lifetime income. So Social Security, pension, lifetime income annuities from an insurance company, that should cover your basic living expenses. That's the paycheck. And then the playcheck, you can invest however you want in stocks, real estate, bonds, crypto, whatever you want. And that's for the travel, the fun, the cruises, the pickleball, the golf, all that kind of stuff. So you want to have both paychecks and playchecks to have a successful retirement.
Yeah, and retirement's very important. And here's something that let's say you had 50 advisors, different financial advisors, you sat them all down in one room, and you asked them how to build a secure retirement, and you said you probably get 50 different opinions. Why is there so little agreement in this financial industry on something so important as lifetime income?
The advisors have kind of followed the baby boomers, all right? And so for 40 years, they were advising them how to diversify their portfolio and accumulate wealth and what stock should I be in and all that kind of stuff. That has nothing to do with retirement. Retirement's totally different, okay? Retirement, you want to make sure that you have increasing income for the rest of your life and that you're managing the risks. You got to manage inflation risk, market risk. You could live a long time. They can raise your taxes. You might need long-term care. You might die. There's all these different risks in retirement. So retirement is not about accumulation and diversification and asset allocation. Yeah, those can play a role, but retirement is really about having increasing income for life and managing those key risks. That's what a successful retirement needs.
You said they could raise our taxes, Thomas. They will. They will raise our
They're
taxes.
going to have to. I mean, it's math.
Yeah. The national debt is kind of scary, isn't it? We're over 40 trillion now that they admit to. That's funded and unfunded liabilities. When you get to look at the promised pensions and all that, we're over $100 trillion in debt that we have responsible.
Yeah,
for.
I've seen numbers where it's over 200 trillion for unfunded obligation for Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid, government pensions, military pensions. I mean, yeah, we're in big trouble. And so, what I've done is, first of all, I converted all of my IRAs and 401ks to Roth. And most of those are in income annuities. So I got all this tax-free income coming in. I moved more of my personal wealth to cash value life insurance. I just finished a 12-pay whole life policy where my premium was $226,000 a year. So, I mean, I'm serious about it. I moved a whole bunch of money into cash value life insurance. And now I'm sitting in just a great spot because I have all this money that I can get out tax-free. My annuities are coming to me tax-free. I mean, that's a pretty powerful position to be in. And I would encourage your listeners to really look at that, because what happens if taxes double? And honestly, to get us out of this mess, they're either going to have to cut spending significantly or raise taxes significantly, and they don't like cutting spending. And so, I think they're going to be raising taxes.
Lately, we've been having a lot of those Roth conversations with listeners. I think people are starting to realize it makes sense to convert regular IRAs to Roth IRAs. Even if you have to bite the tax bullet right now, you'll never have to bite it again in the future. And that's what people overlook. They like to kick the can down the road. But if you leave all your money in regular traditional IRAs or traditional 401ks, you're going to owe tax every single year in retirement. And that's going to be money you could have spent on yourself. Now you have to give to the government.
And those taxes are going to have to go up, I think, significantly.
Yeah.
I mean, again, it's just math. You just look at it. You talk to any half-smart person who knows numbers and math, and any economist, anybody who knows this kind of stuff, and they're going to tell you that we're in a huge difficult situation, and taxes are going to have to go up a lot.
Well, let's look at your decision process, because you said you put about $226,000 a year in a whole life policy, and now you're paid off. But what led you to do that?
Well, I've been in this industry for 35 years, and I've seen how wealthy people use whole life to their advantage. I mean, it's a great bond substitute. It's not a stock substitute. When people try to compare it to stocks, it's not going to beat stocks, but it will beat bonds, okay? And it's tax-free, and I can leave life-changing legacy to my family. I wasn't raised. My parents were teachers in the small towns in Minnesota. They didn't make much money. I grew up in a lower middle-class family. And when I moved to Arizona, when I first went in the Army, Everything I owned was in my Mazda 626, everything I owned, and so
Wow.
I started with nothing, and now I have the ability to not only live a great life with my wife and I, but to really have generational wealth transferred to my children and grandchildren.
Cool.
So let's talk about when we look at Nelson Nash. He was a friend of mine. He wrote the book "Be Your Own Banker." He said treat a life insurance policy as your own bank, and a lot of folks don't realize that concept. But I think that's what you're doing with the whole life. You also there are a lot of life insurance policies now that let you use the death benefit to pay for long-term care, so you don't need a standalone long-term care policy anymore.
Absolutely. It can solve a lot of problems. And, I bought my last two houses with money out of my life insurance policy. Because think about it, we're in Arizona. You had to be a cash buyer to get the good deal down here. If you were going to do a mortgage, you weren't going to get the deal. They wanted cash. Well, where do you come up with 1 or 2 million cash in a couple days? You can't do that at the bank. They're going to fill out this form. We got to underwrite it. We go see, and then they're going to charge you 9 or 10% interest. No, I just call up. In fact, I think I did it all online off my phone. 2 days later, I got over $1 million sitting in my bank account to close on the house, and then I pay back the loan on my life insurance policy. So for me, it's been a really a great blessing, and people don't understand life insurance. In fact, my own son is buying a policy now, and he's like, well, Dad, I'm looking for a lower premium. I say, Sean, you don't want the lowest premium in life insurance. You want the highest premium. You want to put as much money in there as you can.
Yes.
You want to overfund these policies. You want to put extra money into them. That's, everybody wants a lot of tax-free money. Well, to get a lot of tax-free money, guess what? You got to put some tax-free money. You got to put some money in there.
Yes.
In order to get it out. And so I don't, but I will tell you, 226,000 was harder than I thought, because that's like 400 something pre-tax to put 226 after tax. So it was a little harder than I thought, but I'm glad I did it.
And folks, we're talking to Tom Hegna. He's the author of the really best-selling book, Don't Worry, Retire Happy. A great name, great title, Tom, by the way. Mm-hmm. And you wrote about the go-go, slow-go, and no-go years. And so can you go through those real quick for us?
Yeah, well, a lot of people think retirement's going to be 30 or 40 years of golf, tennis, pickleball, line dancing, and cruises, and that's not true. You go through three distinct phases. The first phase is what I call the go-go years. I'm in my go-go years. I'm about 70% retired. I play golf 4 to 5 days a week. I play pickleball 2 days a week. My wife and I travel all over the world. So, but I still do things like this, on my schedule when I'm able to and when I want to. But that's the go-go years when you're out, you're active, and that you actually need a little more income. People say, oh, when you retire, you'll need 70% of your working income. No. For the go-go years, you're going to need more, because every day is Saturday and you're out there spending money. The second phase is what I call the slow-go years. Now, the slow-go years, you can still do everything in the go-go. You just don't want to anymore. You don't want to go downtown after 4:30 because Dad can't see when it's dark out. And then the no-go years are those years when you're probably not leaving the building till you're leaving the building, if you know what I'm talking about. So in the go-go years, what's important is having income. That's the most important thing, not assets. I don't care about assets, income. You want to have as much income as you can in your go-go years so that you can go and have a lot of fun. The slow-go years, it's all about long-term care. And just like you said, any plan is better than no plan. So people can buy a traditional long-term care insurance policy, but I think what makes sense for more people is to get the life insurance policy with a long-term care benefit, because that way, if you don't need the long-term care, you still have a death benefit for your kids, or you still have an emergency fund. It does three things in one. And then, or if you got somebody who's medically unable, I can't buy life insurance, I can't buy long-term care insurance, I have too many medical problems. There are annuities out there, Coach, that will double or triple the income for a period of 3 to 5 years, depending on the company. So that, and most long-term care events are 3 to 5 years, and so that normally works out pretty well. I say any plan is better than no plan. And then the no-go years, that's where life insurance fits. And people say, well, life insurance has nothing to do with retirement. Well, I already told you I moved more of my personal wealth to cash value life insurance. And by the way, Ernst & Young says the optimal retirement portfolio is 30% income annuity, 30% whole life insurance, 40% investment. So I'm not alone in this. This is researched and documented, all right? But we have 4 kids, and one of the reasons many retirees don't fully enjoy their retirement is because they think they got to leave some money to their kids. And so one day we were sitting around, and my wife said, we were talking about how much we leave the kids, and my wife said, I don't know, what do you think? And I said, well, if we bought a $1 million second to die life insurance policy, name the 4 kids as beneficiary, When we're both gone, they're going to get $1 million tax-free. That's $250,000 a piece tax-free plus whatever's left over. I said, let's start there. So we bought that $1 million second to die life insurance policy, named the 4 kids beneficiary. That policy is completely paid up. The total cost of that policy was $150,000. Now think about that. For 15 cents on the dollar, we get to transfer $1 million tax-free to our kids. But here's the best part. Who gets to spend the other $850,000? We do. So I tell people all the time, don't leave your kids any money. You're supposed to spend your money. Leave them life insurance because you can do it for pennies on the dollar.
Tom, you famously said that every day is Saturday in retirement. Most people think retirement means spending less. Why do you say it often means spending more, especially early on?
Yeah, well, I think Dr. Wade Pfau did a really good job on this. He calls it the retirement smile. And he says the spending is like a smile. So early in retirement, you're going to spend more because those are the go-go years. That's when you're traveling, you're spending time with your grandkids, you're still buying stuff, you're maybe get another new car or something. And so you spend more at the beginning. And then when you go into the slow-go years, you typically spend less because now you're not traveling, you're sitting at home more, you're watching TV, the grandkids come to you, you don't go to them. And so you spend less in that slow-go period. And then as you get older, that's when long-term care things kick in, that's when medical problems happen. That's when you need your house redone. You need a walk-in bathtub. You need grab bars in the toilet or whatever. And so then you spend more. And so that's what he calls the retirement smile. You spend more at the beginning, then you spend less, and then you spend more as you age.
Yeah, and a lot of people are going without in the early years because they're supposedly saving for that imaginary vacation, but by the time they get there, they can't do it anymore. So do it now, right? As long as you have the money put aside and you've earmarked it to do it. I call it the fun box. If you fill the fun box up with money every year, spend it. Don't save it because we're so used to
the playcheck box too. But here's the deal. A lot of people live what I call a just-in-case retirement, and these are the people, they're kind of like me, they're savers. So I say there's 2 types of people in the world, spenders and savers. I'm a saver, and it's really hard to turn a saver into a spender, all right? But retirement is all about spending money. That's all you do in retirement is spend money. You don't make it anymore, you spend it, and you don't need to save it anymore, you spend it. But it's hard to turn a saver like me into a spender. And I would see this when I was, 30 years ago when I was an agent at MetLife. I'd walk into a house, they had plenty of money and they weren't even touching it. And I say, wait a minute now. You told me when you retired you're going to join the country club, you're going to buy a new boat, you're going to go see the world. Have you done that? And they say, oh no, the market's at record high, it could crash any moment. We're at war. There's so much political division, and they make up all these excuses for just in case. We got to keep this money just in case, in case the market crashes, in case interest rates go. And so they don't touch their money, they don't touch their money, they don't touch their money, then they die. What happens to money? Goes to the kids. What do the kids do with it? They join the country club. They buy a new boat and they go see the world. And I tell people, don't do that. You should spend the money. You should join the country club. You should buy the boat. And the way you do it is by taking a portion of your retirement portfolio. The research shows 20 to 40%, and put that into a guaranteed lifetime income annuity. Those will give you checks. And you know what? People like me who are savers, will spend the checks because we know the checks never stop. The checks come as long as we're breathing, right? So we can spend those, and then we don't have to tap into our investments because savers don't like to go into their investments to fund their lifestyle. But they will, and there's a white paper that just came out from Dr. David Blanchett and Dr. Michael Finke, Guaranteed Lifetime Income, a License to Spend. And it talks about how these paychecks and playchecks give retirees a psychological license to spend their money. Everybody's worried about running out of money. No, most people way underspend. They live way lower of a lifestyle than they should in retirement. And I'm just trying to get people, look, put some money into guaranteed lifetime income and then spend that money. Just spend it. Go out and have a great time. Go take the cruise. Go take the trip. Do the fun stuff that you want to do. You're not getting any younger, and you don't get to take any of it with you. Think about that. You're not getting any younger. You don't get to take any of it with you. Spend it.
Yeah, folks, we're talking to Tom Hegna, the author of the book, Don't Worry, Retire Happy. Tom, how many annuities do you own for yourself? I know you've mentioned a number before, but I forget. It's in the tens.
I own 13. I own 13, and this year's a special number because I'm turning 65 in just a few days. And that's when I had a number of them kick on. So a couple of them kicked on when I was 60 and 62, now 65, and a bunch more will kick in. And then from here on, I got a bunch more that I can turn on whenever I want. So I am guaranteed to have increasing income for the rest of my life, and I would encourage others to do that as well. And people say, oh, annuities have high fees. No, most annuities have no fees whatsoever. It's variable annuities that have fees, okay? And some optional riders have fees. But my annuities, a single premium immediate annuity, there you can't find a fee in there. A deferred income annuity is not a fee product. A fixed annuity is not a fee product. A base fixed index annuity is not a fee product. A MIGA, multi-year guarantee annuity, is not a fee product. Most RILAs are not fee products, registered index-linked annuities. So it's really only variable annuities and optional riders that have fees, so the people should not worry about fees. It's ridiculous. They're not a fee product.
Where I hear a lot of this conversation about fees and fixed annuities come from are the brokers who are feeing you to death right now. They just don't want you to leave their fee products. And so they're trying to plant bad seeds or seeds of doubt, which hurt the consumer, because the consumer doesn't move their money or allocate their money correctly into the proper ratios for income. And then the market goes the wrong way, and now they don't have that money anymore.
I just shot a YouTube video. Anybody can find it. Go to the Tom Hegna YouTube video, and fees versus commissions. And the fee people always, oh, commissions are bad. We don't do commission products here. Oh, commission. And they like trash commissions. But people don't realize the commission is paid by the insurance company, not by the person. The commission doesn't come out of the client's account value. Now, certainly the product is priced to pay a commission, but compare that to a fee. A fee broker, a broker gets paid 1% every year, 1.5%, whatever they get. You're going to pay them way more money, and it's going to come out of your account than will ever be charged to your account for a commission. Way more, like 10 times more over your lifetime. And so this whole thing, fees versus commission, is a ridiculous argument. It's ridiculous. You want to work with an advisor who has your best interest in mind, regardless of how they're compensated. Because the fee advisors, here's their problem. They won't tell you to get long-term care insurance, because that would take money out of their pocket for the fees. They won't tell you to pay your house off, because then you'd have to take money out and they'd make less money. So they will not tell you things that are in your best interest. They would never tell me to take out $226,000 a year to put into life insurance. Say, oh, that's terrible. Don't ever do that. Think of the commission that agent made. Oh, they made a huge commission. And they'd say stuff like that. I mean, it's just ridiculous.
Yeah, because it's not coming out of your money. So if it's not coming out of your money, now if you have a broker taking your money out, we did a study a couple of years ago, the financial termite of a fee, and the fee that would come out, even if only a 1% fee a year, if you would take that and put it in a separate account and earn interest on it, it ends up costing you a whole lot of money compounded over the years of money you don't have in your account anymore.
Hundreds of thousands of dollars. Yeah. Hundreds of thousands of dollars.
That's what Wall Street doesn't talk about. And a big culprit of these non-traded REITs I see people peddling these days, they call it an annuity alternative because it has a stream of income, but the stream's not guaranteed. Tom, I just wrote a book, I Hate Non-Traded REITs, and so should you. We're going to offer this to listeners. If you have anyone trying to peddle a non-traded REIT, I would say stay away and run. Now, what do you think about non-traded REITs?
Yeah, anything that has limited liquidity, just stay away. There's too many good products out there that you don't have to go searching for some weird thing, and then all of a sudden the real estate market takes a turn and those things are worth half of what they were, and then you can't get out of it because there's a thing that you can only get out once a year, once every 3 years or whatever. I would stay away. There's too many great products out there.
It's just amazing. People they're trying to come up with income alternatives when the best alternative is right there with a fixed index annuity or fixed annuity a lot of times with income. What about to tell you the people that are saying, and again, this is usually coming from the brokerage side, your money's not liquid if you put it into a fixed annuity. Is that true or false?
That's false. Liquidity is a lifetime event. It's not a one-time event. And anytime you're in, let's look at both types of annuities for, if you're getting income, that automatically increases your liquidity, okay? And nobody's saying put all of your money into an annuity. Nobody says that, okay? You need to have some money liquid. We're saying you should at least have enough income to cover your basic living expenses. As far as a fixed annuity or fixed indexed annuity, most of them have 10% withdrawals each year that you can take out penalty-free. Some of them have cumulative penalty-free windows where, if you don't take it for 3 years, then you can take out 30%. So there's all kinds of liquidity things. And again, don't put all of your money into any one thing. You should have some money liquid for emergencies. You don't want to cash in your 401k because your roof has a hole in it or something, or that that you need a new car, so you're going to cancel or take money out of your 401k. That'd be crazy. So, have some liquidity, have some guaranteed lifetime income, have some investments for growth to fight inflation. It's all based in math and science. You can read the books, you can read the research yourself. There's white papers on this. And Coach, here's the bottom line. There's 3 reasons why you need to put an income annuity into your portfolio, retirement portfolio. Number 1, it will improve portfolio performance. And the reason it will is that annuities outperform bonds. So don't compare them to stocks, compare them against bonds, and you're going to be great. Number 2, the research shows you're going to be happy in retirement with guaranteed lifetime income. And number 3, the research now shows you're going to live longer if you have guaranteed lifetime income. And I can show you numerous studies that have all documented all of this. So all those brokers who are anti-annuity, they're saying they want you to die younger, and they don't want you to be happy, and they want your portfolio to perform worse. And I just don't see why anybody would be for that.
Why do you think that people live longer when they have guaranteed lifetime income?
The number 1 killer of people, believe it or not, is not cancer, it's not heart attacks, it's not heart disease, it's financial stress. That has been the number 1 killer. And the National Bureau of Economic Research, NBER, you can Google it, they just came out with a report, 2026. They studied 600,000 people, and it was clear. People with guaranteed income don't just live a little longer, they live significantly longer. There was an article by attorney Patrick Tricker in the Journal for Financial Service Professionals, and he said the average 65-year-old male who purchases a lifetime income annuity can expect to live 20% longer than a 65-year-old male who's not. You know, Jane Austen wrote about it back in 1811 in the book Sense and Sensibility, that people who have annuities live longer than people who don't. So, I mean, this has been known for hundreds of years.
You talk to thousands of people a year about retirement. Why do you think so many people keep taking on more market risks than they really can afford to lose, even after they've retired and don't have years to recover from a bad market cycle? Why do people continue to pile money onto that risk train that you can see is going to go off the tracks down the road a little bit?
Because we've been in about a 15-year bull market that just has been ridiculously to the high side, which I think is great. I mean, I own some stocks, I own some cryptos. I mean, I participate in that, but I don't put all of my money there. I have paychecks and playchecks. I have guaranteed lifetime income, you know, I mean, because retirement is about peace of mind. You don't want to be worried, the market's down 30%. Oh my goodness, now I can't have dinner tonight or something. That's ridiculous. Have a floor of guaranteed income so that no matter what happens, you're fine, and then invest. And then if that goes up and down, you can let it go up and down. But you do not want to have a portfolio where you're taking money out of the portfolio while the portfolio is going down. Here's my rule. Never, ever, ever, ever take money out of a portfolio that's going down. If you're going to do that system, you better have a buffer plan. You better have like a whole life policy or a money market fund or a CD or something that's guaranteed that in those years when the market's down, you take money out of there. Never, ever take money out of a decreasing portfolio, because when you do that, you're taking all that money out, or when the market goes back up, none of that grows back. And that's the fastest way to run out of money, is to take money out of a portfolio that's going down in value. Never do that. If you're going to be the portfolio, if you're anti-annuity, then you better have a buffer. You better have something else where you can take money out if the market's down.
Yeah, I mean, it's one thing to be against something, but if you don't have an alternative, like if you're talking to somebody and say, "Oh, those are bad," well, you say to them, "What do you have that does everything I just told you annuity does?" And they'll get quiet, or they'll come up with something that's not true. That's what I hear.
Yeah, well, if you remember back in the great financial crisis, 2008, 2009, what went down? Everything. Stocks went down, bonds went down, housing went down, gold went down, Bitcoin went down. Everything went down. You know, it didn't go down. My annuities didn't go down. You know, it didn't go down. My life insurance didn't go down. And so you want to have some things, not everything, just some things that when everything else goes down, that you say, wow, I'm so sure glad I got this financial bunker right here, because this can take care of me until things get back to normal.
Now, I say a term, and it's not going to resonate with a lot of folks, but I think anyone listening who it does, it really needs to pay attention. Wealth transfer. So why do you consider life insurance one of the most efficient tools for passing wealth to the next generation, especially compared to just leaving it in a lump sum and throwing it through the tax scheme to give to your next of kin some money?
Yeah. Don't leave your kids money. That's the stupidest way to leave money. If you want, if you say, I just got this money and this is going to my kids, put that into life insurance, because you'll double, triple, quadruple, quintuple it depending on your age, depending on your health. You can leverage it. Plus, they'll get it tax-free. You know, I see way too many retirees who say, well, I'm going to just leave that IRA to my kids. Don't leave your IRA to your kids. You didn't save your IRA and your 401k for your kids. You saved it for your retirement. Guess what? You're in retirement. Spend it. That is the worst money to leave to your kids. They might not even get 40 cents on the dollar after they pay federal tax, state tax, and who knows if sometimes there's a state taxes. No, don't leave that to your kids. Leave your kids life insurance. You get leverage and it's tax-free.
Talked to a planner once, and he said he had a client who, instead of doing the 401k when he started work, just started funding a life insurance policy. And that client passed away at age 48. If he had been doing the 401k, there wouldn't have been much money there. It would have been taxable and all get out, going to the next of kin. There wouldn't have been any money. But instead, he had been funding a big life insurance policy. So his children, he had 3 of them. Each one was a millionaire when he passed away. You could not do that with a 401k. That's the self-completing feature of a life insurance policy. Do you want to explain to folks what self-completing means?
Well, self-completing means if while you're paying it, if you live, guess what? You got all these living benefits. You got money for yourself. But if you die, the plan is complete and it pays your kids out. And you can even have a disability waiver that if you're disabled, the company will pay your premiums for you. There's all kinds of different bells and whistles you can put on it. But the key is you have an ability to leave generational wealth to your family. And you can do it for pennies on the dollar with life insurance.
Yeah.
You can't do it if you're just trying to leave them a bunch of money. Like if you saved up $2 million to give to your kids, if you put that $2 million in life insurance policy, you might be able to give $6 million or $8 million to the kids.
Folks, we're talking to Tom Hegna. He's internationally known in the financial circles. He's a speaker. You've seen him. Maybe you've heard of him. He's been on public TV. Don't Worry, Retire Happy is the name of his public TV special, as well as the book he's written, as well as Paychecks and Playchecks, 2 outstanding bestsellers. Thomas, when we talk about Roth, you've mentioned Roth-based annuities and tax-free positioning as a big part of your own plan. How does life insurance fit into that same tax-free strategy, or maybe even better than that?
Yeah, well, so, and I will even say, I wish I wouldn't have converted all of my IRAs because there's a code in the provision that you can do qualified charitable, distributions out of your IRA. And I wish I would have saved a bucket of money because we give to charities and we give to our church and I could have been giving out of that bucket and had Uncle Sam helping me. But anyway, I did it. I converted all. I'm glad I moved the money I did into whole life insurance. Now I got a fully funded, beautiful policy there, and it's like a freight train. People who pick on whole life, they say, well, you put this money in, and the first year there's hardly any money. It's all going to that greedy agent or whatever. No, whole life is like a freight train. Okay, if you watch a freight train, it goes slow, choo choo. But when it gets going, you can't stop the freight train. You can't stop the freight train. And that's like whole life. It starts out slow, but boy, you can't stop it. Once it's going, these dividends are coming in. Every year it's growing. I mean, it's a beautiful thing.
They tried to teach us about it back in the day, the little engine that could. I think I can, right? I know you can have lifetime income if you set it up correctly, and that's what everyone needs to at least have a review. So many people, Tom, are approaching retirement. They've got their money in lump sum accounts, 401ks, 403b, thrift savings account. They have a big lump sum number, but when I talk to them, they have no idea what kind of income they could be guaranteed to get if they reallocated the money in the proper red, green, yellow strategies.
Assets make people miserable. Income makes people happy. Income makes people live longer. Income makes people more successful in retirement.
So what's the biggest misconception you run into about life insurance and while using it for retirement planning? Something people believe that just isn't true. Like there's a lot of misconceptions. We see them on the internet all the time, in the political world especially. There's a lot of rumors. But what is absolutely not true that is in the public domain of where people think about for life insurance?
Well, when people say you should only buy term insurance, that's ridiculous. I'm not against term insurance, by the way. I've owned millions of dollars of term insurance. Term insurance has its place, okay? But term insurance is there for short term. But what they told people is, don't buy whole life. Don't buy permanent life insurance. That's a ripoff. Go buy term and invest the difference, and then you'll be rich when you're 65. Well, guess what? They were told their house was going to be paid off. It's not. They were told they're going to be wealthy. They're not. And so now you got an entire generation who bought into that myth, who's going into retirement, and they have no life insurance. And that's the time you need it. You know, people say, oh, when I'm rich, I won't need it. My kids are fine. They won't need it. They won't need. Who buys the biggest policies, Pete? Old rich people do. If people don't need life insurance in retirement, old rich people wouldn't buy any of it. Okay, they buy the biggest policies.
Yeah, it just makes sense. I mean, it's a way to transfer that wealth in the right way. For someone who thinks of life insurance as just a death benefit, nothing more, what perspective would you give them today to make sure they can fully understand what life insurance really is it could be?
So what I
them?
used to do is I used to draw 3 circles, and the first circle would be small, and I'd say, okay, this is your cash value. This is your emergency fund. You can get this money out if you need it. But if you don't need it and you die, guess what? Your family gets a guaranteed death benefit. Well, what if you don't die? What if you need long-term care? Well, many of these policies offer a big long-term care bucket. And so that life insurance policy solves 3 key problems. Number 1, it's liquid. You can get money out of it when you need it. Number 2, it can provide a tax-free death benefit to your family. And number 3, it can provide a tax-free long-term care benefit while you're alive.
That's a triple play. You don't see many triple plays in baseball.
Long-term care is going to be the dominating issue over the next 20 years. And it's going to wipe out many, many families because they didn't plan for it.
We really need to make sure we get the proper plan. Yeah. Well, yeah, and that's because the best equity you have is your health, right? When you're younger. And as we get older, we're not going to get healthier time. I don't think so. It'd be great if we could, but as we get older, are we going to get more healthy or more unhealthy?
Exactly.
More unhealthy, and that's why you can't buy long-term care coverage. You have to qualify for it, and you qualify for it with your health. Today is the healthiest day of the rest of your life. Every day from here on out, you'll be less healthy than you were today. So the day to buy it is today. Best day would have been yesterday. Second best day is today.
Yeah, it just makes sense to put all your ducks in a row and make sure you understand. Many people listening probably have never inventoried their financial situation, have they?
Most people don't have a plan. Most people don't work with a financial professional. Retirement is not a do-it-yourself project. You can't. There's too many variables. Long-term care, what age Social Security, how does IRMA work? You know, how much should go into guaranteed lifetime income? How much life insurance should I have? What investment should I have? Where's the best place to have my money in retirement? You can't do it yourself. I know this inside and out. I work with 2 financial advisors. So, I mean, and people don't know that the best product for a 58-year-old female is not the same as the best product for a 65-year-old male or a 75-year-old couple. So how is a person supposed to figure that out on their own? There is no way they could. That's why they need Coach Pete, or they need a financial advisor like Coach Pete to guide them.
Well, Tom Hegna from Flagstaff, Arizona, we appreciate your time today. Look forward to seeing you again soon.
Thanks, Coach. Great to be with you.
Yes, sir. Folks, we'll be right back after this.